When it comes to the journey of weed addiction, weed dependence, quitting, moderation, 30-day weed free challenge, there's this fixation on the weed and the not using weed. And that's all good, and there's a place for all of that, and it's relevant. But the whole point of all of this is, what do we want? Because the reason we'd want to change our weed usage in the first place is because there's something about our lives that we are not happy with. And it could be as simple as, oh, I smoke too much weed, so I want to smoke less. But if you're watching this video, my assumption is you are a lot like me and how I was, which is my life isn't where I want it to be. I wasn't showing up how I wanted to show up. I wasn't growing the way I wanted to grow. And in the meantime, I was just escaping with weed, numbing, coping, avoiding with weed, neglecting, procrastinating with weed. And so, of course, naturally, when a year goes by, in my case, 15 years go by, and I look at the state of my life and I go, wow, my life isn't how I thought it would be at this stage. Man, I've just been smoking weed this whole time. Man, I need to do something about this. And so naturally, I'm going to smoke less weed, which already is hard to do. But then the reality is, what we really want is more than just quitting and more than just less weed and moderation. We want changes, actual changes in our life. We want things like consistent health and fitness. We want things like leveling up our money. We want things like being more present, having more pride with how we operate. We want to be more consistent in our relationships, not hazed out and just doing whatever. We want to focus on our goals and not numb and distract, whether that's with weed or TV or being on the phone too much. The point is, we want changes. And so today's video, we're going to focus less on how to be more in control and how to deal with cravings. There's many videos on this channel that goes over that, as well as across the internet. But what we're really going to do today, and if you're willing to just stick with this video, to take a moment to get in touch with, what do you really want? And by the end of this video, hopefully we will have broken this down in such a way that you realize that what this is all about is what you want, the choices that would get you what you want, and then putting weed in its proper place. Make sense? Okay. And by proper place, that might mean not at all. That might mean only if. That might mean XYZ. But the point is to shift the priorities from escaping and numbing and letting weed be whatever toy you just go to because whatever. And instead, the actual juice, which is what you want and the habits and actions that would get you there. Because that's what it's all about, right? Put weed aside. What is this all about? It's that, right? So let's just take a moment. Right? What do you want? And just get in touch with that. And this is the part where we get to dream and we get to play around with what's really there, right? Oh my God. It's like, and this is kind of like, New Year's resolution energy. It's like, oh my God, yeah. I would love to be in more shape. I would love to have real emotions in my day. I would like to have discipline. I would like to focus on XYZ. Okay, so let's take one of those for example. Let's take let's take being in better shape and having better care of my mental health, right? So we're going to hyper focus on being in shape and better mental health. Ironically, mental health, mental health. Okay. All right. So let's actually start with mental health. And I'll use myself as an example, and I'll try and just spread it to a more generalized version. First is, what would mental health look like? If I had my mental health that I wanted, what would that look and feel like? Okay, for me, it would feel like a sense of integrity and peace because I know I'm showing up my best each day. It would look like a sense of integrity and peace, again, because in that I am showing up for my relationships. I am showing up for my family. I am showing up for myself. I'm showing up for the various responsibilities in my life. Okay? What's one more thing? Mental health to me would be, ironically, tending to my fitness and shape, tending to my nutrition, and ultimately prioritizing being awake in my life and not being asleep at the wheel. And in that, tending to the various things that matter to me. So in my case, my definition of good mental health is tending to the different categories of my life, including my emotional self, including my mental state, and showing up for it. Not to say that every day's perfect, not to say that I won't experience anxiety and stress and fear, and that I won't do things like avoid and neglect, not that I won't go through any of that, but by and large, for the most part, I show up and I don't check out. And I do my best not to partake in activities that take me away from things that matter to me, as opposed to be more with them. Okay. And so, as you can see in that definition of mental health, what would the habits be? What would the actions be? What would the non-actions be that would get me that? Some of the actions would be some form of exercise on a consistent basis. It would mean when I'm feeling anxious and stressed and unsure, that I take a look at that, that I use the various tools that I have to process that. Things like, maybe I need to talk it out with a friend. Maybe I need to get professional help. Maybe I need to journal. Maybe I need to go for a walk. Maybe I need to meditate. Maybe I need a pick-me-up of some sort. Maybe I need to celebrate. I don't know, okay? But that's what an action would be. What would a non-action be in my version of mental health? It would definitely not be consistently using substances to just deal with life, because for me, that doesn't make me happy. That doesn't make me prideful. And that makes me feel like I'm just ultimately running away and not dealing with myself and my problems. And I'm not willing to face the music. And if anything, that's me not giving myself enough credit to face things that are difficult. And so where would weed fit then? Okay. And in my case, because I have such a long history of abuse and all this and training myself, and you guys know the whole world of it because you go through it yourself, weed doesn't really have a place in my high operating mental health. And that's something that I've had to accept. But that may not be the case for you, where you can't ever do it. Okay? It just depends on how your relationship to the plant has been, what your relationship is to yourself, your genuine ability to have self-control in some aspect, and your own personal values. Okay? And so let's take a generalized version of being in shape. Okay, let's take the case that, you know what, you don't have mega debilitating addiction, but you just have this nasty habit of, I go on a weight loss journey I go 6 days, 3 weeks in, but somewhere along the way I just quit and I end up just like smoking a ton of weed because I don't know, I just whatever. Or maybe it's not even like that. Maybe it's I really want to get to the gym every day, but I'm so tired from work and I just end up smoking a bowl instead. And when I smoke a bowl, I get fast food, I do Uber Eats, and so it's like, God. So not only am I getting Uber Eats, which costs me money, which is against my money goals, but I'm also getting fast food, which is making going the opposite way of my health goals. And then I feel shame, and that makes me less motivated to go to the gym, and so I don't go to the gym, and then it's like then everything's ruined. Okay. Right. And so in this case, right, let's take that example of, getting to the gym every day or getting to the gym every other day. What you want is to be in shape and have some sense of consistency, have some sense of discipline, and have some sense of doing what's necessary, especially when you don't feel like it, right? Okay, what would the actions be? Okay, the actions would be when it's gym day, that I go. And that even when it's hard, I go. And that even when I don't feel like it, I do whatever I need to do internally to get myself to go. And maybe there's some strategy involved, right? Maybe it's like, all right, well, I need to make the decision that right after work, my running shoes are in the car and I don't even go home. I go straight to the gym. Or it could be even before that, which is when it's gym day, I make this decision in my mind that I'm going to go no matter what. And when 3 p.m. rolls around and work is almost over, instead of indulging in the thoughts of, oh God, where are we going to go? I don't want to go. Oh, you know what sounds good? Smoking a bowl in Uber Eats. Instead of indulging in that whole fantasy, to cut that out, right? And so the internal action would be to stay on top of your shit. Don't let this whole back and forth dance run. Stay focused, stay sharp, stay on top of it. Okay, that's what you need to do so that you get to the gym, right? Not succumb to the feelings. What are the non-actions? The non-actions are the things that you don't do. What you're not going to do or what you refrain from doing is things like smoking the weed instead, getting the Uber Eats. Don't do that, right? What are the internal actions? Don't play the fantasy game of, oh God, well, don't be a back and forth, will I, won't I, right? That's what's there. That's what you don't do, okay? And it's very clear that if you were to align yourself with those habits, actions, and non-actions, you would get what you want. So now let's go into, all right, in this whole realm of what you want and the habits and actions and non-actions that will get you there, where does weed fit? Okay, well, in that equation, so in that fitness equation, okay, well, if it's just the case that most times when you smoke, you're more likely to indulge in fast food, then you probably need to limit your weed intake because it leads to a lot of fast food. Okay. I didn't say no weed forever. That doesn't necessarily mean no weed forever, but you ask yourself, okay, well, when would it fit? Because it's not like in your health and fitness journey, you're never going to have a pizza or you're never going to have it, right? That's what quote unquote cheat meals are for, cheat days are for. Set aside a day in the calendar. Rest day, indulgence day, have fun and let loose day, celebration day. Maybe you set it up where you are disciplined for 5 out of 7 days of the week as a plan. You get to the gym 5 days out of 7 days of the week. And on 1 day out of the week, you just allow yourself to let loose. And if that plan genuinely works for you, then good. Because that's where weed would fit in your ability to get what you want, which is to be in shape, which requires you to get to the gym every day. not fantasize about smoking weed on Uber Eats. Make sense? All right. So then this also begs the question, okay, well, where does it hurt, or where does it take you away from your goals? Okay, well, in this case, it's obvious. It's when I play the fantasy game. Oh man, maybe fuck the gym. I'm gonna just go home and just fucking smoke the weed. Fucking hit that order now Uber Eats button. Get my grub on. Get my just cuddle up at the end of the day. Fuck work. Right? And you could feel how how much pull that has, right? Okay, where it would hurt, where it would take you away is in that. In the whole, oh, I'd rather just smoke weed instead of go to the gym. That's where it would hurt. Where it would hurt is, oh, you smoke weed and you keep eating fast food, because that's just what happens when we smoke weed. We just want to, and not to say that every time you smoke weed, you can't just have a salad. You could, but it's like, I know for me personally, it's hard. It's hard, and I most likely will make better decisions if I'm in my right mind. Okay, and so that will require 100% honesty. Okay, seeing where weed fits, seeing where it hurts. But you get the whole picture. This is about what you want and what will actually get you there. And being honest about where weed fits in that picture. But again, this is the excitement about what you want in life, because that's what it's all about. And I just feel that in this journey, it becomes so hyper fixated about weed or no weed, about I went 30 days weed free. And I get that, because if you are watching this to this stage, that is a relevant thing, where because it is so hard, right? It's to the point where even after watching 100 videos and reading books and this, that, and the other, journaling for 1,000 hours, and you're aware of all this stuff already, that the moment comes to go straight to the gym, but you still go home and smoke weed and order Uber Eats instead. So I get it, right? But again, what really matters and what is that really there to focus on is the following through on what will get you what you want. Because what I see a lot of times, I saw this with myself, I also see this in clients I work with, I see this on subreddits where people quit and their life didn't get any better. There's this fallacy that just because you don't use, you will automatically get what you want. You can smoke weed and not smoke weed and still not get what you want. And so that's why the hyper focus of today's video is to remind us all that this is about what we want and what will get us there. And then doing our best every day to align ourselves accordingly. Do that consistently enough, hammer it home enough, and all of a sudden your life's changed. Like actually. And so hopefully that brought you some value. Hopefully that brought you some insight. If you're someone who wants to work with me, I am a life coach. I have experience with all this stuff. I work with clients. I love doing this work. I'm offering people one free 1-hour coaching session, completely free, just to give you an opportunity to get familiar with the type of work that I provide, but even more so, an hour to deep dive into what you want, an hour into deep dive and action plan, clarity, breakthrough. I'll even offer some accountability, ultimately just to empower you and to get you moving in the direction that you want, and maybe ideally to get you unstuck and to have you feel empowered to go after what it is you want and feel freed up to do so. So again, one free coaching session, 1 hour if you've gotten to this point in the video. My clients usually pay me $50 to $100 for this service, completely free to you. We can talk about working together long term for a paid service if that makes sense to both of us. But regardless, 1 free hour, no strings attached. I love working with people. I would love to give that to you. And yeah, reach out to me via Instagram or email. Instagram is at Gabe_Santos. Email is g.santos28@gmail. Links will be in the description. Other than that, we'd love to hear what you think. We'd love to hear your breakthrough. We'd love to hear just where you're at in your journey. Maybe share some celebrations. Maybe share what is hard for you in the moment. But yeah, appreciate your time as always. Appreciate your viewership. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.